Hi everyone, my name is Maria Paula. I'm from Brazil and from Youth for Nature, and today I'm joined by Asmita.
Hi everyone, I'm Asmita. I'm from Nepal. I'm originally from the mountains of Mugu and I have a background in forestry.
Thanks for joining us today, Asmita. So in today's series of interviews, we're gonna explore how involving youth in forest-based economy sector is vital because youth brings this ambition, the know-how, and also the youthful energy to make change happen. And we'll hear today directly from youth on the importance of including youth in forest and climate initiatives. So I'm going to start with my first question to you, Asmita. Why is harnessing the perspectives of youth essential for unlocking the full potential of forests for climate and biodiversity as well as livelihood development? Tell us a little bit about your experience and your thoughts on this.
Yeah, of course. So coming from a country like Nepal, I feel like the role of youth is really important to be in the space of forest because it's heavily controlled by the old age group people. So I feel like young people bring so much of new perspective, and also they are not afraid to dive into the unconventional ways of exploring and how they can create more innovative solutions to the issues we're facing. And I feel like more importantly, they are the agents of future, and they are the one who will be communicating with the communities. I feel like the work is a bridge to gap there is between the community people and also the policymakers. And I feel like they can do so much more in exchanging knowledges, what's happening in the policies and what's happening on the ground. So they kind of like act as that agents of like exchanging, so they can like really fill in the gap that there exists.
I love it, Asmita. And as we are in the climate COP, I feel that whenever we have young people, youth in the room, we can push for more ambitious goals and for working in different ways. So, what are for you the top three priority actions for empowering youth for forests and climate in this international spaces, but also in the local level?
I feel like whenever I think of young people, I feel like education and skill development should be the core of building capacity for the youth. So having said that, I feel like the first thing would be to invest a lot more in the education so they are prepared for what comes next. So for instance, it could be like on the job training, and it can be both hard skill and soft skill. It can be a simple thing as like learning how to write a CV, learning how to talk to people, and also like how to make connections and build a relationship and trust. So I feel like these are very basic skills, but something that we really, really need and to keep teaching young people how to do this, and also how to make their voices heard and how to communicate with other people. I feel like it's really crucial and it's a really basic thing. And I think diving more deeper, I feel like we should have these spaces like World Congress Forestry happens in an international level. And I feel like young people need access to that so they can advocate for what they believe in, what they should think that should happen in their own community level. So I think we need access to that. And I think finally, we also need access to funding. That's the most important one, I feel like. And they should be given those funds to do what they feel is needed in their communities to promote the livelihood of the people through forest, and what they think is very innovative in their own communities because they have that knowledge. And I feel like access to funding is a huge barrier. And I think if they are given that access, I feel like there is so much we can unlock.
I love it, and I love how you bring the capacity building of youth and how youth can access platforms, financial resources, and also training to engage meaningfully in this space. So thank you so much for joining us today. Hi everyone. Now we're joined by Sunday Geofrey. I love your name from GLFX. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Maria. My name is Sunday Geoffrey. I come from Cameroon, and I'm the Jello Yaoundé chapter coordinator.
Thanks for joining us today. I have a couple of questions to ask you, and I would love to pick your brain on why do you think it is important to foster local participation in policy processes, and particularly looking from the youth perspective and youth lenses.
You understand, in real Africa, most young people are actively engaged in community development, meaning that they have a wealth of experience and they have different perspective on what development looks like and how what challenges they face. So the inclusion in policy development means that they can actually inform policy, and that the policies that will be developed will be able to implement, because the end goal of any policy is to transform society. So these young people have a good perspective, they have a good knowledge, they have the experience that can actually inform inclusive policies.
Well, I love this. And at this COP, I think we're talking a lot about like how to bring this local knowledge to the international space and how we can connect these two. And I think you have like awesome experience on this. I would love to know what benefits does like harnessing the power of youth have for forests, climate, and for livelihoods, particularly in rural areas.
Yes, we still have a lot of interconnected problems, from climate change, unemployment, poverty, and all of that, environmental degradation. So I think that the youth, if they have the right capacity, they'll be able to significantly contribute first to environmental protection. That will serve as that will create opportunities for young people. You understand? As I mentioned earlier, we have the problems are interconnected, which means that effective solution to one leads to another. Effective solutions to livelihood support will reduce poverty among young people, will create employment among young people. Development of ecotourism opportunities will help in restoring and conserving degraded lands, will help in conserving sacred sites, which will, of course, will give opportunities to young people. So I feel that young people have a crucial role to play when they're engaged in the process of climate change solutions.
Yeah, I love this. And I think we're on the same page when we say that the problems that we face, they're interconnected. So the solutions should also be interconnected. Yeah. A funny story that I heard during COP is that I met a guy from Ghana. He's very young, like 15 years. And I was talking to him about like climate change. And he was like, this doesn't concern me because I'm more concerned about like employment and what I'm going to eat the next day. And then I asked him what his favorite food was. And he was like, my favorite food is blah, 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 this favorite food. I was like, oh, this is also going to be impacted by climate change. And like the ability of you to engage in like the space of like getting jobs and like sustainable livelihoods is also impacted by climate change. And it's good because we need to think about like solutions that are interconnected. And I think you brought this in a very like lively way.
Yeah, sure. Because I work with the local communities, and when we engage young people, the first thing they look at, they don't see climate change, they see unemployment. Yeah, they see unemployment. They're looking at food. They're seeing food insecurity. They're seeing the challenges they are facing. That is affecting their livelihood. So that's the approach you take to bring the bigger picture, right? Relating why you are having changes in rainfall patterns, why you are witnessing crop failures, why if we restore the forest, we'll be able to have a sustainable income, why restoring the forest will bring more economic opportunities to this community. That's the approach you take, and that's the approach the young people want to see, because they feel like, okay, once we're able to meet our daily needs, then we can engage in forest conservation, we can engage in landscape restoration. Yes, and this really interconnects, right? It really interconnects. And in communities where I work in, most especially in Northwest Cameroon, that has been having conflicts. You make the young people to understand, once you create opportunities, what happens? They can be recruited by rebel groups. So they're protecting the environment, they're making money for themselves, and at the same time, they are reducing crime waves in the community. So this is interconnected, and this is the approach that we have to take to get the young people on board. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is awesome. It's awesome to have this holistic view of the problem and how we can look up for the solutions. Sunday, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope we can talk soon.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, Maria. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Now we are here with JungWoo Na from IFSA. Please introduce yourself.
So my name is JungWoo Na from the International Forestry Students Association, and our organization is a unite of forestry students all over the world, over 10,000 members.
Wow. Thanks for joining us today. I would love to start by asking you, what are the specific skills and capacity development needs for youth to contribute effectively and meaningfully to the sustainable forest-based economy?
So I think there's 3 points. First is understanding sustainable forest management. This means understanding how the forest refunction itself, and this means studying about biodiversity and also like conservation practices and usage of forest resources. And the second thing is bioeconomy knowledge. I think it's crucial to know how biological resources produces goods and services sustainably. And the third thing is the digital skills. Like tech savvy is a must right now. If you look at SOFO 2024, it's all about innovation. This includes technological innovation, which means like GIS, AI, satellite technology, and this can be used in many areas of forestry, even in the economy. So I think it's crucial to have like technological basics for our students.
That's great. I think it's great that you brought 3 different topics, and I find it's always easier for me to organize my thoughts when I have this kind of separation of subjects. And I think the work that IFSA does, it's very much related to capacity building young people and also bringing them to this international space so that they can also learn from experience from other young people and people that were young in the past and now work in the sector, and they have a lot to offer. So I think IFSA does a great work connecting all of these points. I would also love to know what actions can policymakers and decision makers take to enable full inclusion of youth initiatives and perspectives when it comes specifically to forests and climate.
I also have 3 points. The first is establishing youth advisory councils. I think it's important to have platforms for youth so that youth can be united and have a united voice. And a united voice can make a bigger chance of making their opinions reflected in the policy-making decisions. The second thing is the capacity building. This COP is also called the Finance COP. So I think it's crucial to have support on youth-led projects, and this includes like capacity building of the youth. And the third thing is promoting intergeneral dialogues. I think it's important to have more interactions between youth and experts. Then the experts can have more fresh perspectives, and youth can have the experts' experience and knowledge. Be a future leader in forestry.
That's awesome, and I love that you bring this perspective on like bringing youth and experts to the table. I think we need to reach out to as many actors as we can to bring them to this conversation. This means like experts on the forest bioeconomy sector, also students, people that just joined this climate space. And I love that you brought the topic on like how we can build capacity and for youth to engage meaningfully in these discussions and not be only invited, but like heard, and not only be like on the table, but like meaningfully participating in how we make decisions. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
We are here with Rabi Raut. Please, Rabi, introduce yourself.
Thank you. My name is Rabi, and I'm from Nepal, currently working at the World Food Forum at the Youth Assembly team.
Welcome. It's so nice to have you here. Can you tell us a little bit about the World Food Forum Youth Assembly and how they are engaged in forestry?
The World Food Forum Youth Assembly is a year-round platform for open discussions by the youth and different youth organizations. So we discuss different agri-food system issue topics, and one of the topic is the forestry. We had a thematic assembly on that too. So we organize a pre-COP 27 youth assembly on the topic Young Mind Green Solution, where we bring work with different youth organizations like Mediterranean Youth Task Force, YPAD, and we work with IPSA together on this thematic assembly. And during the flagship, we got a chance to meet our partner in person, and we organize COFO, that is Committee on Forestry Thematic Assembly in person.
That's nice. I'm learning some new topics today also. Can you tell me a little bit more about what the outcomes of the Youth Assembly on Forestry were, or the outcomes of the Youth Assembly from the World Food Forum were?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for this question. And yeah, the World Food Forum Youth Assembly presents the following call to action. We prepare the call to actions from our thematic assembly as promote the youth innovation solution by supporting and investing in agroforestry, nature-based solution, and youth ideas, integrating the ancestral knowledge into modern technologies on these things. And others like invest in education and capacity building for the youth, because youth are very important for any of the things to bring in concrete ideas into action. So we also to invest in youth through public outreach or different initiatives so that the young people can feel safe in career for forestry and agriculture on these things. So we also ensure bring inclusivity and diversity in forestry and agriculture sector. It's very most important things I feel, because the voices of everyone matters to us. The voices of underrepresented youth, especially in local community, marginalized communities, indigenous youth. Every one voices should be heard equally on the right spaces. And at last, we want to integrate this call to action into global initiatives. Like this call to action should not be only on the paper. This should be respected by the world leaders. This should be integrated in the global initiatives. So that's what we are hoping from our outcome of the Youth Assembly on COFO.
Well, fantastic. I love to see when young people are engaged in these policy spaces and how we can push for change in the spaces when we have joined forces and one voice. And I think there are like many synergies between all the organizations that you work for and all the organizations that, well, Youth for Nature also works with. And it's awesome to hear. And I'm very excited to see what the outcomes of the Youth Assembly are going to be to COP. And yeah, I see you in COP 30.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm here with Sagar Aryal from Plant for the Planet Foundation. Sagar, it's so good to have you here. Please, if you could introduce yourself and a little bit of the work that you do.
Hi everybody, I'm Sagar from Plant for the Planet, and I work as a CTO at Plant for the Planet Foundation.
That's awesome. So Sagar, my first question to you would be, how are youth, specifically youth from Plant for the Planet, democratizing technology for resilient and low carbon development, including forest-based economy? If you could share your thoughts about this.
Yeah, at Plant for the Planet, we're building technology to make tools for communities, to make it accessible and at the same time open source. So projects who are on the ground can access the technology that would otherwise not be available. For example, especially in the forest-based bioeconomy, we're building and sharing platforms like the Forest Cloud, which empowers local and global restoration effort. For example, by funding them, by monitoring them, and by helping them in the project management space. And since we've started the Forest Cloud in 2018, over 300 projects have joined the platform, and we've restored more than 90 million trees around the world. And these projects go beyond borders, so this is not just in one country. And by leveraging these innovative solutions, we can map the forest. We can use that data and help on-the-ground projects with how forests can help the climate crisis. Yeah, and for us, it's not just about scale. It's not just about technology. It's about scale. It's about inclusion, and it's about impact. Because we know that at the end of the day, it's the local communities indigenous people and people who are working on the ground who drive this innovation in forest, because we need them to scale forest restoration around the world.
Wow, you have some impressive numbers. It's so cool that you foster traditional communities and communities that are on the ground dealing with climate, in the forefront of climate change, and also bringing data, bringing a lot of expertise, and also bringing capacity building for this specific territories. So yeah, awesome to learn more about this organization. I would also like to know a little bit more on like how do you see we empowering more youth to be involved in forest issues, including related to like climate and sustainable forest-based economy? How can we get more people in this space?
Yeah, I think the key to engaging more people is making opportunities accessible and meaningful, right? At Plan for the Planet, we have this program for young people 9 to 14 years old called Plan for the Planet Academies. We've educated more than 100,000 children to become Plan for the Planet ambassadors for climate justice. And I think this can be scaled up in the forest-based bioeconomy sector. And basically, we need to create these platforms for young people so that they can collaborate on forest restoration and conservation projects, and they can then exchange hands-on experience of how they're working in the forests. And it's not just that, like education is a key, and this is something I think nobody disagrees, but at the same time, especially building the knowledge on forest is very, very important. And this is where working together with local community again becomes very important, because local communities and indigenous people are the protector of the forest. I think they are the ones who know best, and working together again with researchers who know about how to bring back forests, with people who know the forests, and basically amplifying youth voices in that helps us integrate young leaders into policy making, and at the same time also into decision making in this process.
Wow, and traditional communities, they have been doing this work for millennia. They know how to do it, and it's so cool that you bring this technological knowledge and also technical knowledge from forests, and you can just like combine these two things and make an effective and powerful organization that has like amazing numbers so far. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us. I think to conclude, we've heard a lot about like how we can empower young people by giving them access to resources, financial resources, also technological skills, and access to decision-making spaces. And I think all of our interviewees today brought different aspects of the power of youth to be engaged in the spaces, and how we can push youth to be on the forefronts for climate solutions, both from traditional communities and youth that are on the ground and enjoying these international spaces. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us.